I'm Alan Fuller, boat builder at the Pioneer Sailing Trust. Join me on this, the restoration of Jinny. Jinny is an oyster skiff built at West Mersey by Wyatt's Boatyard back in 1948. She was built for the Haywood family, which was and continues to be one of the most established oyster fishing families in the area. The family also owns and manages the celebrated company Shed, which is firmly on the national culinary map. Jinny was very much a working boat, used on an almost daily basis to farm the treasures that lay in the muddy creeks around West Mersey. She's been worked hard over the years, and it certainly shows. Let's hear more about her working life and her integral part within the Haywood family.
They were built as work boats, which is what they were, let's face it. It wasn't really a fishing boat, but you could go and get herons on it because you only went just out in the river. You weren't going off down the bench head. You could have still used it for fishing, put it that way. But that was for the oysters, really. I mean, I loved it because with those pumpkins, as they call them now, you can like walk from one side of the boat to the other and the boat don't sort of wobble. And also, it's just a big, nice, steady old thing, you know. That's why I loved it, because it was all, felt all safe. Some people knew her as Jinny, or the Jinny. As far as I know, that was named after one of his grandmothers, but that must have been her nickname. Jinny was very much part of the working family. We might not have realised that at the time, probably because we were all getting on with our jobs, her included. When she was launched, you can see Richard here in his little trousers and little sort of gaiters on. It must have been a special day for the family. So really, Richard knew the Jinny from 5 years old or so. She got sort of quite smashed up in that big gale. So then he got Johnny Milgett to rebuild it. And yeah, they did keep using it for oystering. But what the Jinny is clinker built, what they call clinker built. Which I love because, you know, I'm an old romantic, aren't I? The day I first met Richard, we were out herring fishing one day. Richard was on another boat and I thought, it's the man I'm going to marry. So he didn't stand a chance then. So he sort of shouted something across, and so I picked a fish up and chucked it at him, and he went in the wheelhouse and just missed it. And that's probably how the fish brought us together, if you see. 2 years later, to the day, we got married. When I first knew Richard, I thought, oh, fishermen, you know, the ones that go out there trawling, they're the sort of brave ones. Then when I went oystering with Richard a couple of 3 times, like up Sawcut Creek, as I call it, it's quite monotonous and it's freezing cold in the winter. It's quite a lonely, up Sawcut, it's quite lonely if you've like been alone. And I remember saying to Richard once, isn't your hands cold? He said, no, I can't feel them. His dad said, I want you to get a proper job. I don't want you to have to work so hard as what I've had to work. So then he ended up in college. And but he said, I knew that weren't what I wanted. Before he died, he knew that, I don't know if she'd gone there by then, but he knew that the Pioneer were going to rebuild it. I know in my heart Richard would be really chuffed that the Jinny's been rebuilt as, well, it's going to help people, isn't it? The apprentices will be able to learn about her and how she was built and all that. And anyone watching the restoration process will learn about all of that too, I could imagine. Richard would have been so happy to know she'd been given another lease of life. His spirit will live on forever with the Jinny.
A fascinating history there of Jinny and her part in East Anglia's oyster fishing industry. Jinny represents an important part of national maritime culture in the UK agro fishing industry. We will take great care and pride in being given this opportunity to restore her to her original state and continue her legacy. The traditional skills and methods we use throughout the restoration will help give you the confidence, tools and knowledge to carry out your own restoration. The whole process will also help preserve traditional boat restoration and building knowledge for future generations. As you can see, we've got a lot of work to do, so let's get cracking. But before we do, let's start with a few basics about the construction of a typical clinker-built boat, similar to Jinny.